And we are live. So, welcome everybody to the Blak Mild podcast. I'm your host, Reginald. Joining me is a very special friend of mine, Anissa. How are you doing today?
Hey, how are you? I'm doing great.
Hey, good. It's been a while. So let's get this out of the way. First of all, actually, before I even get into my awkward OP rant, I need you guys to know y'all can still catch these hands in Super Smash Brothers, okay? Sephiroth is getting really good. I got the short hops down. I got the neutral air down. All of you Super Smash Brothers people know what I'm talking about, okay? The neutral game is on point. I'll put my friend code in the description. It's also in my about page. Also, I'm trying to put together an OP game night. You guys know I'm not the best at organizing, but I want this to happen. So I want this to happen sometime in 2021. I'm okay with it taking a while, but I know there are a lot of people who want to play Among Us, Cards Against Humanity. There's also like a Jackbox party thing. I've heard Overwatch. And then, of course, Smash Brothers. Please catch these hands from shirtless Sephiroth. It's okay. Okay? It's not your fault. Okay? I'm just better than you. Okay? So we can talk about Cards Against Humanity without competition or whatever. But I am looking for help and then also some suggestions. So feel free to reach out to me.
Well, I definitely know who I'm going to play the shirtless Sephiroth card to in Cards Against Humanity.
Yeah, that's a free point for you right there. So that's the first one. That's like deep on my heart. I want to destroy everybody with Sephiroth. That is my FI right now. Okay. Now, for those of you guys who are new, or those of you guys who just don't even know what objective personality is, just give you the big brief rundown. So the Blak Mild podcast, the goal of it is to just have really enjoyable and meaningful conversations. Okay, that's the bottom line. That's the standard. Now, with that being said, everyone that I've talked to on this show so far have come from the objective personality community. Objective personality is attempting to make the Myers-Briggs typology indicator more scientific or more palatable to the scientific community. The way that they're going about that is they are doing double-blind experiment where they have two people, or they're encouraging people to take two people, put them in separate rooms, or just be non-communicating with each other, try and get the same type as each other for any given individual. And as they start getting statistically significant results, then they're going to start passing those results to the scientific community, and then we're going to start transitioning to things like AI, genetic testing, machine learning, those type of fun stuff. So how I describe it is objective personality is still in beta. It does not explain anything, neuroscientifically or anything like that. However, a lot of the frameworks have been very insightful and meaningful to a lot of people, including myself. So there's a Facebook community around that, Discord communities around that, a YouTube community around that. And so everyone I've been talking to have been in that space. Now, we're going to be using a lot of that terminology. So if you are someone who's new or you're still confused about what this stuff means, there are some links in the description. The first one is the beginner series from the founders that have both text to read as well as YouTube, or not YouTube, but videos to watch, basically describing all the terminology and explaining how everything works, okay? There is also a YouTube playlist I've curated for you from their YouTube channel with 5 to 10 minute videos, because I know you guys have short attention spans. So feel free, watch those short videos. There's also an interview at the end that's an hour long from someone who had no idea what OP was. So that will also help out, okay? Those are in the description. Next, there is going to be a live chat. Anissa and I can both see the live chat. So my goal is to be really locked in with Anissa. But if you guys have any questions or anything like that, or comments, and we think it's relevant, we will pull that up on the screen and just talk about it, okay? I think that should be it. I think that's it. I've done this so many times. I forget the full blast of it, but
so I don't know. It's a good blast. Like high five, thumbs
Thank
up.
You. So without further ado, Anissa, how are you?
I'm doing well. Just surviving. Oh my gosh. So this is the fun thing. I was dreading coming back this week to school because we've had 2-ish weeks of vacation, which is long for Christmas vacation. And now it's just like getting into the swing of all of that. It's like, I have one schedule. Now let's jump into the next schedule, which has been hard hard for everyone, even my students. I like came in today and I looked at my 8th graders and they were just quiet, which they usually aren't. And I'm just like, you guys are even more dead today than you were Monday.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard. The transition's hard. I mean, it's but it sounds like you're teaching in person still, or no?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay, cool.
We are one of the few in my area that have not shut down at all. We've been going since we started back in August. Yeah.
Really cool. Really cool. Awesome. Okay, cool. So I mean, so that's definitely something that I'll want to return to. So, but starting off, you know, as is tradition, let's start off with the first impressions, how we met. As everyone knows in the OP community, I start fights with everybody. I didn't like you when we met. Okay, it's okay. You know, I probably hurt your feelings, but I am curious to see if that's also the case for you, Anissa, or if I'm just, you know, full of it right now.
Oh my gosh. No, you didn't hurt my feelings, Reggie. I remember. So I was in the Discord playing The Sims 4 as I usually do in the Discord. And I just remember, like, what was it? So Amelie was there and she's just like, she had like come in, she's like, oh, I got another type twin, which was you. And so like I was just waiting. I'm just waiting for all the ENFPs to come, because it seemed like we had a whole entire like ENFP like wave come into the Discord all at once. Yeah. So I'm there, I'm talking with Stacy and I'm playing The Sims 4, and then you came into the voice chat, and I guess you looked at my type on the Discord thing or whatever, and you just like saw NI, and then you just like started TE beating me over the head with like, make NI predictions for me. Tell me what things are going to be like down the road. And I'm just like, okay, dude, it's single activated and feminine. I'm not doing this, but I played along.
Yeah, that's so funny. Yeah, I remember that actually. I kind of still want someone to do that. I secretly still want I want to outsource all the functions. Like, it's like I want just someone to do NI for me. I just want to hire an NI person to just like be my NI person and just give me predictions all the time. I'd be like, okay, great, I'll just do that, and then you know, like, but yeah, I definitely remember that. I think even in that conversation, you said that you're like, Reggie, I don't think this is how NI works, you know. So I'm not exactly the person you should be asking these things. But yeah, you seem pretty cool. I'm not sure if it was that specific conversation or future conversations where we started nerding out about like anime as well and trying to like NT that.
Yeah, because I posted a video on YouTube and you were like, you have hurt my SF on like I just shit typed Goku or something.
Oh yeah.
And you were like, look, we have to talk now. I don't agree with your type of Goku. And so we had like a 2-hour conversation, which like jumped from typing. I think we typed every single person in Dragon Ball Z, like that mattered, like at least all the heroes. And then I think we went on to like, what did we start doing? Like One Piece or no, Bleach. Because we like started like identifying a lot of like double masculine SEFI like consume play characters with Blast Last just happen to be anime heroes.
Yeah, because I think your NI at that time locked on to all shonen heroes were a particular type, and I was like, I don't know if that's true, you know. Mm-hmm. So I think that's where it was like, it was playful, but it was still like, no, I don't know.
Oh, it was FTE, just like, what about this and what about that?
Yeah, I think, and then we at some point, if I'm remembering correctly, we were starting to look for like just double masculine in like cartoons, period, because it seems relatively rare. Mm-hmm. I think we settled on like what JoJo and like the Powerpuff Girls, surprisingly.
Powerpuff Girls is double masculine, and I was just like, I was sitting there, I'm like, what's like the most punchiest like kids show out there? I'm like, Powerpuff Girls.
It really is. Yeah, it really is. Yeah, no, so really fun. And then I think we've had maybe, my memory is not super great, but I think we had like maybe 1 or 2 other conversations like outside of that. But you were just, honestly, we were both super busy, but like you got super busy, you know. So it's like I think that was the limit of that. No, but it was really good. I think you were, and that was a really good first impression for me. I was like, oh yeah, she's super cool. I was surprised that you were the same type as like, or similar type as Kanye. I was like, what the like, they're not similar at all, you know. Like,
I'm not dropping rap albums left and right. I'm sorry.
Well, not that I know of. I mean, you're holding out on us. I know you got it. I know you got it. But no, really cool. So really good first impressions there.
I mean, the other ththing, you were also like really surprised that I was younger then.
Yeah. That was important to me. I was like, so because you're like what, 27?
Yeah.
I was like, yo, what? How is this possible? Because because for me, so here's what was going on with me, right? I was like, okay, this person is clearly extremely mature. That was part of my first impression. Clearly very contained. You had a very clear plan for yourself. I mean, that's partially OI. But I was like, very clear plan, very settled. You seemed very settled. And especially just given your type seeming, on paper, it's double like extroverted and all this. Like, so it's like, oh no, she seems super calm and just kind of going about life. And she seems like she's handling her shit. So I was like, okay, she must be in her mid-30s, especially given that, this is me being shady, but especially given that some people in the OP community that are in their 40s and 50s feel like they're 12. I'm like, okay, she's probably in the middle. So I was like, okay, she's probably 30. She can be a mentor of mine or whatever. Cool. Right. And then you dropped like, oh no, Reggie, like we're about the same age. I was like, what am I doing with my life then? I think that made me sleep process immediately when I found that out, by the way. I was like, what am I doing with my life?
That's the thing with the Discord though. And I forget because there are so many people on there of different ages. And like, there are some people that are in their 20s and I forget that they're in their like early 20s. And I'm just like, okay, yeah, 7 years doesn't seem like that huge of a gap. But then when you like sit back and think about it, you're like, actually, that is kind of a huge age gap. If you think about it, like school wise, like we're in elementary school and they're in diapers.
Yeah.
Like,
it's just disrespectful. I'm offended that you're not in your 30s because I was like, my whatever you want to call that, my worldview was shattered that day. I was like, that was annoying.
Then everything changed when I released my age.
I know. that I had to actually grow up for once. Just no, I didn't want to. No, really good. So honestly, I think this conversation is going to be pretty straightforward. So here's my thing, and this is my caveat every time I do this now. I am not Benjamin. I'm not Kendrick. I don't even want to be anymore. It's too stressful. Okay. If you guys want an in-depth, really technical conversation about OP, go over there. She has an interview with I think Benjamin and Kendrick.
Yes.
They're great. They're asking all those TI questions. Just go over there. Okay. I'm done. I can't do it. I'm not doing it. Okay. However, we are going to go into OP. I am still curious about just hearing just how you've been experiencing everything. I am curious for myself to see like a compare and contrast. But then from there, I'm just going to I just want to kind of catch up, honestly.
No problem.
And then we'll kind of just stick to that. So starting off, I mean, how are you experiencing your saviors and demons? Like, how would you even describe that experience?
Oh gosh. So, and this kind of goes back when I was typing myself and like getting my animal stack. Because like, obviously I seem really calm and composed. And a lot of it is like, there is like a little internal switch that just like triggers in my day. Because if I were to take a camera around and like record myself at my job teaching middle schoolers, you would see like the crazy off the wall stuff. Of course, we're still like getting stuff done, but it's like crazy play blast energy just coming at you all the time. And then like there's a little bit of consume, but I don't sleep process during work at all. Like when I'm on my planning period, I'm just literally on YouTube consuming videos, and that's like my downtime. But yeah, it's like once I leave school, like all of a sudden the consume and sleep just switch on. And I'm just like more mellow, kind of calm down, because that's like my downtime for my day. Like I've put out all my energy, I've crashed to say, and then like I just want to lay down, watch YouTube, watch some crappy reality, or just go online and play video games by myself. And of course, like part of me though has like, because there's like, sometimes I feel like it's the DE connection, the desire to reach out to other people. But like as a kid, I didn't have a whole lot of friends, which is, the NT life right there.
Yeah.
So like a lot of it has been me figuring out how to balance like the play blast and the consume sleep. So it's like, yeah, I'm expending all this energy at my job, but I also want to like connect and talk to other people on the Discord, on Facebook, and talk to them, but also like have time for myself just to unwind at the end of the day.
Yeah. Wow. Do those crashes feel like overwhelming, or like is it just kind of just are you still good in that state?
Well, here's the thing. So like at the end of the day, I can definitely tell like the last 15 minutes when my students are leaving the classroom. Like I'm on my phone. I don't want to talk to my students or anything. Like I'll say goodbye and like have a good evening, but like that's the amount of conversation that I have with my students.
Right.
And then like because I have a 30-minute commute, which I'm just like, thank God, like you think some people hate commuting, but that's my sleep process time. I just like put on Spotify, listen to music, and I'm just like in my head driving home from work. And that kind of gives me enough of a recharge so that like when I get home and my parents want to know about my day, I can like blast to them. But then like I'm kind of up on my own doing my own thing.
Yeah.
So it's not like a hard crash. Have I had hard crashes in the past? Definitely. But it's like I'm constantly trying to figure out, especially as new things come into my life, what I can move around so that way I can process and have that downtime, because that's like very important to me. I know I can't function unless I have like my downtime.
Yeah, I'm learning that. I'm learning that it's not possible to just keep going. It's just not.
No, because eventually you're gonna hit the brick wall and it's gonna hit hard.
Yeah. Oh, it's not. Apparently that's a mood as well.
Well, Savannah's my type twin, so
that's right. I forgot about that. Yep. Definitely type twins. Nothing shady about that at all. So yeah. Now, I mean, look, I'm like going through like an identity crisis. I'm not Kendrick or Benjamin. I just have to remind you guys again, this is not going to go in order. Okay. So one thing you mentioned was you watch like a lot of crappy like reality shows, right? I have heard that is almost characteristic of like demon SF, possibly even demon SF consume. I mean, is that what you're largely consuming? Just like
it's not that. It's like that's my guilty pleasure, and it's like I go in through phases of it. So recently, because I want to spend more time with my parents, and I just love judging people and their bad decisions on reality TV. And plus, Prem has been talking about it a lot in the Discord, so I'm just like, okay, why don't I just fire up 90 Day Fiancé again? I'm gonna watch the Big Ed season because that is the season that you watch. That's the season PewDiePie commented on.
Okay.
And a bunch of YouTubers also commented on that. So I was watching that with my parents, and then now we just like spun down the rabbit hole of like, we'll watch all the spin-offs of 90 Day Fiancé. But that's like I want to sit there, and it's like almost like an it's like an NI thing.
Okay.
Because I'm like, what's going on psychologically with these people that's causing all these problems? And then of course I'm like secretly OP typing them, even though I am well aware that like these are all edited scenes and this doesn't necessarily reflect the person's true type, but you can kind of see like tidal waves. Like there was one guy had a complete demon NI tidal wave, like just would not piece together that this girl that he was trying to pursue did not like him. I'm just like, ugh. But
yeah, that's so fast. Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, so you're building mental models as you're consuming the SF, basically, which kind of goes back to what we were talking about before, like that kind of that video Rose put out, where she was like, yeah, NT is creating mental models like of the world abstractly, and then SF is just actually enjoying it. Is there ever a time when you're just watching these shows or just consuming the SF where that NT turns off?
Yes and no. I mean, the thing is, it's like I enjoy the SF of consuming it and making fun of people, but I also enjoy the NT part of it of figuring out why.
Okay. Okay. So it's both. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty
And
cool.
honestly, like with double masculine consume, it's like that was one of the things that I was thinking about as well, because my consume's double masculine. It's like I really like what I consume. Like I am stuck to what I consume. So like it's just like when I consume, it's good feelings, and that's what it is. And then like once I get into it and watch like a couple episodes, that's when the NT starts to like weave itself in, and I start like getting into the typing and stuff, because that's about like say 90 Day Fiance, like 3 episodes, 2 episodes, depends on how long the episodes are, because some of their episode lengths vary. That's about when the patterns start to emerge, so I can like enjoy it while also typing them in OP language.
Right. Right. Well, is there any, sorry, how would you describe your experience of like SF or even the SF consume in a more like serious context, if that makes sense? Like for example, at work, or like where is the SF playing in that arena, and where are the voids that you're leaving?
So one of the things that I actually promised myself before going into teaching was that I wasn't going to be like the teachers that I had in the past. While they were good at delivering content, some of them just didn't relate to students, and I wanted to be able to relate to my students. And actually, I made a conscious decision to go on YouTube and actually just start consuming like PewDiePie, Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, and then that spiraled down to like Brad Mondo, Jenna Marbles. Well, I'd watched Jenna Marbles beforehand, like in high school. Just so that way I could bring up those references into the classroom and weave those in. And that honestly sparks deeper connection between students. Like there's a 5th grader. I don't teach 5th grade, but like I have recess duty with them like we have a rotating schedule. So every 4 weeks I'll have 5th grade for recess. And the student is very shy, doesn't talk. But she was drawing during recess, and she was drawing a Gudetama, which for people that don't know, it's like if you've heard like Sanrio, like Hello Kitty, if you've heard, it's one of their characters. It's like this little egg guy. Which I forget what it translates into. The lazy egg is what it translates into English. So she was drawing like a Gudetama. I'm like, oh, that's a really cute Gudetama, and she was just like so surprised that a teacher like understood that, and she was like throwing through, and I'm like, oh, that's a really cool pixel art of Sans, and she's like, Undertale, like just those little things. So that's like where my SF consume kind of goes, is to relate to kids. Do I know necessarily what's the most popular trend in teaching right now? Yes and no. I mean, I just finished a master's degree in teaching, so I'm kind of caught up to date on that. But like with teaching, there are new technologies that come and go. And if I were to spend all my life just in that like SF consume and just like testing that out in my classroom, like my students wouldn't have any sense of consistency. And that's kind of what a lot of them actually need and like. They don't like super chaos. Like they like fun, they like play, they like things to be spontaneous, but they also want to have like a structure. No, we're going to get things done.
Right. Really cool. Yeah, it's almost like your SF is serving not necessarily your NT, but it definitely seems to be serving the connection, right? Oh, that's cool. How about the NF and the sleep? Like, how is that playing in? You mentioned you're doing it to kind of just recover, but like whether it's like at a work context or like just in your life, where do you see that playing in, and like how are you incorporating that, or where are the voids there?
So one of the things that I was telling you about it was I went through therapy where I learned how to do cognitive based therapy. That's what my psychologist taught me, and that's what I've been using for my sleep processing. So with that, basically and this has been a couple months, so I'm at a point now where I can almost feel like a sleep crash is going to possibly happen, because I haven't been processing something. I've been putting it on the back burner and using consume as like my way out to, I'm feeling bad, so why don't I just consume something that makes me feel happy?
Yeah.
So now I'm just like, okay, well, consume. While it's there, I'm still becoming more and more aware of it. So I'm still doing the journaling that I do. And I'm now starting, kind of part of my New Year's resolution is to continue to be more aware of like that looming feeling of like, you're going to have a sleep-lash crash if you don't address this right now.
Yeah.
And journaling it out. And also just starting to do what the NF sleeps do, which is like, how am I going to feel if I walk into the situation?
Okay. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
So one of the things, like, so it's NI, which is like looking towards the future, planning something, and then your feelings, your FI.
Yeah.
So I guess a good explanation or example of this would be when, well, just yesterday, like the whole entire Christmas break got me off track. And like, I was nervous because like 2 weeks, I did absolutely nothing with teaching because honestly, I wanted to enjoy Christmas and New Year's and not think about school and work and just have a vacation for once in my life. And I was like, Friday, I started getting this feeling. I'm like, where did I leave off? Because like, I'm starting to get into blast mode. Where did I leave off in school? Where am I going to pick up? How am I going to pick up? How am I going to pick off where we left off? And it was like Sunday evening, I think I finally came to the conclusion that if I were to go in and just like hardcore, just pick up where we left off, start teaching a brand new lesson, I was going to be super stressed. And that's like the NF sleep talk to me, like, you're going to be super stressed if you do this. So my decision to narrow down was, okay, I'm not going to, start teaching cold turkey. I'm just going to print off like a worksheet from where we last left off. I think the kids will appreciate that more instead of me just being like, okay, today's grammar lesson, we're going to talk about adverbs and how you can identify them in a sentence. Like, let's just go over what we already know. And then Tuesday, I'll feel better. I'll be more in my swing because I have Monday under my belt and I can start teaching then.
Right. Wow. I guess I'm realizing I don't fully understand the difference between SF and NF. Honestly, I can't tell. Like, because I'm like, it's like, how, why isn't that SF? I don't know. Like, I can't tell. I mean, maybe other people can tell. I can't.
I wish I could, but it's like I'm extrapolating all the like SE, like every single time that I have felt this way in the past. That's like my cheat sheet too for like NF sleeping and getting over my anxiety. Is like, well, this situation is exactly like this other situation. The sensory is just slightly different.
Okay. And so you're not doing that. I mean, so unless you force yourself, you're just not making those connections, it sounds like.
Yeah, or I am unconsciously and I'm not aware of it. Okay. Like I was telling you, like with my therapist, and he'd like say things. I'm like, wow, I guess I did have that as like some type of rule of how things operate and was just operating off of this and never bothered to update it.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Like, it was hard. I wasn't expecting this to be this hard because so I have SF sleep, right? So we have different observers, right? So mine is SI and FI as sleep, and my consume is NE and FI, right? So I'm hearing what you're saying, and I'm like, my mind's like, it's like, isn't that what I'm doing? Isn't that what everybody does? It's like, so I'm like, I'm trying to see like what exactly is the difference, right? It's hard. I don't know why my mind is like getting stuck here for some reason, but I'm like, I don't know what's going on.
I mean, honestly, Reggie, like I hear other people sleep. Like I hear NITI sleep, and I'm like, I do that too when I sleep. I'm like, so, I mean, sleep is, I think, just as an animal, it's just similar. I guess it's just in your head. I guess it's how you're looking at it in your head. Like it's hard to explain in words, but conceptually, I guess it's very different.
Yeah, really good. Yeah, so I'll deal with that. But okay, cool. Um okay, so we covered pretty much the saviors, demons. Well, except for I guess FI. I mean, we kind of covered just kind of very loosely NF, SF, and stuff like that. I am curious, like how you experience FI specifically, right? Especially given that it's like the the least activated, and like how have you been going through that? I mean, part of it is you're doing the sleep processing and making those connections,
Mm-hmm.
but like, do you? I mean, is this even a valid question to you? Like, how are you experiencing FI separate from these things, or?
I mean, like, I've been trying to parse out FI from like SF and NF,
Mm,
and the only thing that I could say, like, that's been just me validating my own FI, which was, I don't know when I made the decision in my mind, was just me telling myself, like, I'm allowed to like what I like, and I shouldn't be ashamed of what I like.
mm,
And then at some point, I just started sharing like the FI stuff that I like, which is like NT nerdy stuff, like going to Target and wearing a Star Wars sweater. And then it's like all of a sudden I'm getting tribal validation for like my FI. Sure, a
mhm.
lot of people like Star Wars, but it's like then I can strike up a conversation with a complete stranger
Yeah.
and we can have like this opinionated conversation about what we liked about the ninth Star Wars movie and what we didn't like.
Right. Right. Wow. That's really good. I'm still struggling with that. It's so hard. So hard. It's so awkward too. Like sharing that stuff. Like I'm trying to, but it's always I find it weird. Um, do you think our FI being masculine helps at all? Have you considered? Do you think that's a thing?
I think like and both my demons are masculine. Well, both your demons are masculine as well. Like, I think having masculine demons kind of helps because it's like I can't not be aware of them because they're
Yeah.
just there because they're like my personal theory is like your masculine functions are your most solid functions.
Mm,
So like SF to me is kind of solid even though it's like my third function and I'm kind of crap at it because I spend all my time living in NT La La land, but like
yeah.
when I get into SF it's like very enjoyable. And it's like I can become aware of like how I'm feeling in the moment. That's another thing that I've equated SF to is like being able to just know what I'm feeling right in the moment.
Mm, okay. Yeah.
Do I always listen to what I feel right in the moment? No, but
I mean, how would you listen to that? Like, though, I don't. Like, what
it's
does that
like
even mean?
it's like a gut feeling like people that I've been around, I just get like this feeling, and maybe it's just FI, maybe it's
Mm,
NF, maybe it's my NF sleep talking to me. I don't know. Of like certain people that it's like I don't want to be around them, so I avoid
mm,
them.
mm. I don't listen to that either. Okay, yeah, I don't. That's wow. Because yeah, I feel like I don't like so it goes actually to the permission thing. I don't I guess I still don't feel like I have permission to just randomly avoid people. Like I definitely peacock the hell out of that, you know, as you know.
Yeah.
Me on the Discord, I'm like, I don't fucking like you. Now that's still true, guys. It's like, yeah, I don't fucking like you guys, blah blah. But it's like, it's like I think at every chance I get, I feel like I need to reconcile or try and make it, amiable or whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
And I think too that's like the double decider in you because I feel the same thing. Or it's just like, oh, I know this, like I'm being told I don't like this person. Oh, but I need to give them a chance. Maybe if when I open up to them, like
yeah,
I'll actually like them. And sometimes that happens. And sometimes I'm grateful for it. And sometimes it's just like more nope.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. Okay, but you're saying feeling and even SF is just tracking how you feel in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So this is important. Like, what do you do when the feelings are negative, right? Like, I think because thinkers tend to not deal with negative emotions that well. Like, so
Yeah.
how are you handling that?
So that was actually, and maybe this is why you thought I was like more mature
Mhm.
because like I suffered from extreme anxiety in high school and college because of really NI standards that I put on myself. to the point where like I had trouble sleeping. I would get up at like 3 at night, just like having the dry heaves. I know that's kind of graphic, but like that's the extent of the anxiety that I was feeling. And like I would know why I was feeling anxiety. I didn't know how to fix it because I'm trying to take it from like a TE perspective. How do I fix my anxiety so I'm not experiencing this? And like, of course, one of my things was to go to my parents and like, please get me medicine. I know there's anti-anxiety medication. I need anti-anxiety medication. My parents are very like, if it's something you can fix, then, you know, we're not going to put you on medication. If it's something like obviously you can't fix, then obviously we'll get you like meds. And my parents are like, this is something that you need to work out on your own. We're not going to go to the doctor to prescribe a pill so you take anti-anxiety medication. So, I mean, from high school to college, that was like something that I was working out on. And I think it's when I kind of discovered like sleep. Just going on walks. So that way when I'm feeling anxious, I'm just walking and then I can just kind of process why I'm feeling that. And usually after the walk, like I feel a little bit better. And it like took time, like doing an hour walk every day until like the anxiety kind of calmed down from that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I need to do that. I've been feeling a lot of anxiety these days, so yeah, I definitely need to do more of that.
But I guess
yeah.
Let me just kind of go on that. Like I guess it's still like even today, like I don't want the negative emotions. Sometimes I have caught myself reveling in the negative emotions, and I realized that that's also very unhealthy because that just gets me into a depressive spiral. But I guess when I have negative emotions, it's not like I'm not approaching it as how can I fix this? How can I make that stop? Which I feel like that's what TE wants to do, like just wants to make the negative stop. It's more, why am I feeling this? And what do I need to think about, or how do I need to change my mindset so this doesn't bug me as much?
Okay. So you're not even moving the emotion then?
No, I'm moving the NI.
That's so fucking annoying. Sorry, not you. Why is that needed? I can't anyway, that's me freaking out. I probably need to accept that. But as you can see, I'm viscerally just rejecting it. Why would I? You know, because
if you change, well, like for me, if I change the perspective of why I'm feeling this way, I realize, okay, yes, while I'm feeling what I'm feeling is bad or icky, like, do I really need to just wallow in this forever and feel bad about myself when I could just change my outlook on it?
Okay.
And be like, yeah, this sucks. What should I do? Here I'm putting like TE, a TE spin on it, but like, this sucks. What am I missing? What's the missing information here that can help me make it not suck?
Yeah. That's annoying. I'm not looking forward to that. So the reason I'm not looking forward to that is, I mean, partially because I have like a lot of anxiety and just a lot of discomfort around a lot of things. And I definitely beat myself up for not like working every second of the day. That's a weird thing I have. I mean, that's probably the sleep last for me, like the play and the sleep last, like where it's like, I'm like, look, if you're not moving, like even on days where my body is just shut down, right? Like, it's like, look, you're not moving at all, right? Even on those occasions, my mind is like beating me up for that. And so like, for me, I would prefer if those emotions just disappeared.
Yeah.
But like, you know, so I don't want them to stay. Like, that's kind of the implication of what you're saying. It's like, if you reframe it, then that still has to exist.
You have to accept, like, that was the one thing my therapist told me, is like, you have to accept the emotion and it's okay to feel what you're feeling. And once I accepted, okay, I feel sad and shitty, like,
yeah,
then I can like move on to the next step and get over, like, sometimes you're never over what you feel. Like that's the MFI life, but
yeah,
at least move on from that.
yeah. Well, anyway, I mean, I wasn't trying to make this a therapy session. Maybe I was unconsciously. Maybe I was. Who knows?
I feel like every conversation I get into ends up becoming like a therapy session with people, though.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why is that?
I don't know. It's like sometimes I talk to people and then it's like we just get venting FI. And I guess I've just learned over time to be comfortable with like people venting their FI.
Mm.
I'm just like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And then I sit there and then I'll drop something NI and then I'll be like, yeah.
Really good.
This is why I type myself before coming in OPS as INFJ, because I'm like, I feel like I'm the therapist friend.
Right. I mean, that's not, yeah, pretty close. Pretty close. Yeah, pretty close. Well, I guess that does help explain a little bit about you, because I think compared to a lot of your type twins and type cousins, you're a lot more emotionally expressive, I feel like. Like, yeah. You don't feel robotic to me, right? And that's like a thing that I've noticed with a lot of thinkers, especially like TE double activated. You know, just if you guys are watching, just so you know, you guys are kind of awkward sometimes. I'm sorry. Like, it's just you guys are, like, I don't know what else to tell you. Like, but yeah, I think you're definitely more like you seem like you have the vibe down, you know, which is cool. Let me
agreeing. She's like, yes, I'm awkward.
Oh yeah. I thought you knew. If so, that's my job. If you're the INFJ at home, I'm just the guy who calls you out on your shit. Like, guys, I'm trying to tell you guys, it's not cute anymore. Just go cry somewhere. But anywho, let me ask this, like, before we start moving on to like just you as a human, like, how do you experience FE? I've been on like a huge FE kick lately, personally.
Oh, good. I was just about to go into like a tangent on this too.
Oh, okay.
But ask your question first, because I'll probably like lead into.
No, that
or
was
is it just how do you get? Okay, so I have both recently typed both of my parents, and these types constantly change because like my parents are 70 and 80 years old respectively, and they've just been around the gamut. So okay. I feel like I get all my wisdom from them.
Okay.
But I think my pap has demon MFE, and I think my mother has savior MFE. We're a family of masculine feeling.
Okay. Cool.
So like from them, it's like a lot of, I feel like with my type is I watch what other people do. So I watch like in the play moment, like the ST. Mm-hmm. I take in what other people do. I narrow that down into an NI rule. Mm-hmm. So that way I can repeat that rule over and over again. So like I grew up with like FE in the household. Mm-hmm. And a lot of it has been like me just kind of like just parroting back some of the like FE that I've seen from them.
Yeah.
But like FE in general, I thought I was FE. Because I am looking at the emotions of other people. Like that's something that I've learned from my parents. Like, look at what other people like. What other people like is how you're going to connect to them.
Right.
Because people connect through their F.
Right. So
I'm just looking at like what I see is like the FI of other people. So it's like I have a list of like, you know, Susie likes, I don't know, she likes watching 90 Day Fiancé. Obviously, you like playing Sephiroth and Smash. Like just these sort of things, so that way I can connect to people on that.
Yeah.
But the thing as I've like been reflecting on FE, like I don't have FE because like I don't like negative emotions, and I can see like my parents, like my mom especially, being savior MFE, just like rolls with the emotions, like it's just her thing.
Okay. Even the negative ones. I'm trying to, like, why specifically the negative ones?
The negative ones, like, it just seems like with savior feelers, and I see that even with savior FE, and I guess maybe it's because FE can just like go over the emotions. It's not like MFI, which just locks into the emotion and just wants to like hold on to that for dear life.
Mm-hmm.
Like she wants to push values on other people, but like when she's experiencing her own emotions, like she's sad and everything, and like she's just expressing her sadness, and we like talk back and forth about being sad, and then we're done.
And then you're done. Yeah. Yeah. Whereas with TE or FI, they're not. Yeah, they're typically not doing that, or they get kind of weird when that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you feel like it's easier? So I feel like anecdotally, I feel like it's way easier to process emotions with people with FE than not. Do you experience that? Like, do you feel like it's easier to actually process your emotions when you're around FE people, or no?
I process my emotions with whoever.
Okay.
And like I think my mom's FE. I do a lot of talking about like things like, and we just go back and forth and talk about our emotions. And that's just like something that's normal and natural for us. And I guess growing up with that, obviously you're accustomed to that. But like I vent to TE people. I vented to my best friend, and I think she's like masculine TE.
Yeah.
We just vent back and forth about like things. But she's also gone through growth where she's also really cool with just being okay with having weird emotions. Like
Right.
when the vibe gets weird, you're just not like,
no, yeah. Yeah. Really good. Yeah, and just so I can just process this out loud, and just out myself. I think FE it's just great. I almost was gonna say better, but my FI stopped it because I still think FI is fucking killing it right now. But FE is really good. I don't know what else to say, because it's like it kind of encourages that, at least for me, it encourages that environment of processing, right? Like you can hypothetically process this with anybody, but FE seems to bring it out of me more. I don't know what else to say, how else to say that.
Yeah, where I feel like I'm just like more reserved, because I'm like, I see what you're feeling, I can like empathize with what you're feeling. But it's like, I guess as like FTE user, like I don't want to change how you're feeling.
Yeah.
Like I want you to ultimately feel better or whatever. And if like listening to you and just being like, yeah, you're right, is like just a way to validate what you're feeling and you feel better for that, then that's kind of my approach to it.
Yeah. Yeah. Same. I mean, I almost like just take a very hands-off approach. I'm like, because yeah, I can feel, at least sometimes, it's like I can feel like, yeah, this guy's in a pretty bad space, or this person's in a really bad space. And even if I'm really close to them, it's like I feel like I don't feel comfortable moving that. So it's like, yeah, it's like if they, yes, I feel like, if they are willing to share with me, then I honor that. But it's like I'm not. Whereas the FE almost pulls it out. I don't know how to say that. Like,
yeah. No, and I just want to say, like, I've seen instances with my mom use FE, and just like how she's able to word things to change the emotional environment. I'm just like, man, I wish I had that as a function. Like in my top 4 at times.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really cool. I like FE right now. FE is on my FI favorite list right now. It is. It's just really good. So we do have some comments. So we have one comment directly about the FE, and then we have a question. So we'll start with the FE one. So I don't know how to say your name, by the way. I don't know if it's Sherry or Cherie. I don't know. I
think it's Cherie.
Yeah. Okay. So perhaps you aren't looking at the other person's values. You instead are making fake values within yourself to connect. I don't know. Oh, hold on. Just like how TE surrounds himself with fake reasons to justify their FI. That's hard. I think the word fake. I'm just like negatively reacting to the word fake right now.
It is Cherie. She just posted the pronunciation. Yep.
Okay, there you go. So going back to this, let me process this real quick. You're instead making fake values. I mean, okay, so this is me OE channel changing, because then my question is TE fake though? Because I don't. That's the premise. I don't know if that's what's happening with TE even, because I see the connection you're trying to make, like the word like.
I see where she's going too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like TE is ultimately justifying the FI. I've seen that. I've done that. I'll make all the bullshit reasons for Smash Brothers.
Yeah, just shit out the reasons.
I just want to and get biddies and all that fun stuff. Like that's me. Okay. I'm that guy. So it's like, yeah, once your FI is locked on, your TE will throw out anything to justify it. By that same logic, what this would mean is that FE is doing anything to justify its logic, right? It's putting out any emotion to justify its logic.
I can see that.
To some degree, I see that as well. I mentioned I have someone who's going to come up on the podcast pretty soon, and we're going to talk about it. But FE sometimes feels more calculating to me than FI or TE, even. Right? Even Savior FE, they seem more calculated because it's like they are coming from, which emotions should fit this context. Now, my question is that fake? Like maybe the word fake is where I'm having a sticking point, but I kind of see where she's coming from. So Anissa, if you want to process this, and I'm also going to throw her last up on here.
Always emotions with yourself to connect for myself. I mean, I see where you're coming, Shuri, because honestly, I was like looking at a meme. I can English today. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is literally the difference between like TI and FI. And it was like about like RPGs and creating a character. Okay. And like the first one was like, the top meme was like, I created this character and it was just like a whole entire like TI stat block of reasons, like, you know, so they can like get better melee damage and you can do this, that, and the other thing. And then it's like the FI one's like, I just wanted to play a cat. Yeah. I'm like, yes, that's the difference. So
yeah, but she's translating to FE though, right? So,
yeah, no.
So it's weird because I think so. Shuri, this is my hot take. I think you're forgetting that the FE serves the TI, right? It's not like the FE is just being fake to connect. There's a TI identity that it's quote unquote bullshitting for, right? I feel like
it's gonna try to use all these personal reasons to make it valuable for everyone else. And it's kind of like, I guess, with TE, right? The reasons don't matter, the emotions what matters, but the value doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter. It's like it's cool if everyone likes it, but it's really my logic that I put together for why it's cool that matters.
Right, exactly. And yeah, the FE is like trying to get everyone on board with that reason, right? So I think Nikki or Niha gave a really great example here of like the reason is the bottom line, right? The FE, yeah, we're trying to connect with you and help you process emotionally, but the TI is what matters. I can even give a great example practically, you know, bringing this back up to like, you know, how people connect and stuff. Like I have several friends in my life, but I think one friend in particular, she's really great. Honestly, she's a good human. I think she has FE personally, right? And so what she'll do is she's super nice, right? But all of her niceness, she'll ask me these really calculated questions to lead me down a train of thought to show me I'm full of shit. And I'm like, oh, you know. And she's trying to be super compassionate. She's like, yeah, I understand. You know, when you're fucking dumb. You know, it's hard being dumb. Like that's basically what she's telling me. I don't know how, like I know she's being super kind about it, but that's how it feels to me sometimes. I'm like, it's like, yeah, like when you're dumb, yeah, it's frustrating. You know how people are. It's like, yeah, it's really frustrating that you think this, but if you thought this, it would be different, right? And so her FE is trying to get me emotionally on board with going through this harsh logical like reframe.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's why FE is trying to connect on a deeper level than just being fake, so to speak. Like in the same way with TE is giving you all these reasons, but to get you on board with what it likes, right? FE is trying to give you all the emotional like reassurance that you can go with this logic, right?
Yeah.
That's how I process that. But Anissa, do you have anything to add to that, or?
No, I think he nailed it on the head. Because I have seen that, like just being in conversations with like TI, just like breaking it down, just like please stop, like because I'm like eventually you're just gonna get to the FI.
Yeah.
And then it's like once you like, at least for me, once you pull back to the FI, and like especially if it's like an MTI and an FI, and like MTI is like I want the logical reason. I'm like I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. Like, it's even worse if we don't like you. I'm like public service announcement. If you argue with the TE for too long, especially with mask and FI, you're eventually going to get your feelings hurt because we're going to be like, yo, you're like, you shouldn't exist. I'm trying to warn you.
The
Like,
MMI door slam.
it's gonna happen. It's like you guys keep pushing anyway. So Cherie, you're absolutely right. This is the bottom line. We just like that. That's exactly. Thank you. So next question here, if I can find it.
Nikki, yeah.
Nikki, yeah. So this one's interesting. Do you think your IJ box is bigger than other IJs, considering you are info dominant and double masculine consume?
In a way, yes and no. Like,
okay,
I am more willing to go out of my box, but there's like a stipulation that I have, and I'm actually trying to work on breaking this. I will go out of my box as long as there's at least one thing familiar.
Okay.
To me. So like whether that's going with a friend to explore a new city. That's like my OI box of security. Like that, at least I am with someone that I know, and that is my known information.
Right.
It is scary as all get out for me to just and I think some of you guys saw my Facebook video, but I didn't want to go to like Pittsburgh. There's some FI.
Okay.
I didn't want to go there alone because even though I had been to Pittsburgh, like I had no clue where I was going. Like it was completely OE. And I was just like, no.
All right.
But if I had gone there with someone that I knew, I'd be more comfortable to go out and like explore that.
Right.
I do think the double masculine consume does help too, especially as like a hobby. Since it is my hobby animal, because it's just like I latch on to something and then I can just keep on consuming and going down that, which then will kind of do the rabbit hole of like, oh, I like this. Well, this thing's also similar. So then I'll like jump onto there and like see how, like instantly see the NI of how it connects together and like go down that rabbit hole.
That's interesting. That's actually a really interesting contrast, like even with the NE, because as you were saying that, my mind was like, well, what's the big deal? Like, aren't cities similar, right? That was my NE. It's like, oh, well, they're conceptually the same, so you should be fine, you know. So it's totally disrespecting just how different it is, you know. So that is, yeah. Because I've definitely pulled an OE. Did I tell you about the time when I sold all my stuff and went to California? Did I tell you that?
No.
I totally did that. I'm an you guys. I peacock to hell. Yes, I plan and all that. Guys, I'm a mess. Okay. So what ended up? So long story very short. Yeah, it's like, and people were stressed out. Like all the OIs in my life specifically, they're like, Reggie, you know, don't you have like a job over there? Do you know anyone over there? And I knew like a few people. You know, it's like, do you realize that you're moving to like the most expensive state in the U.S. at that time? Like, the most expensive city in the most expensive state in the U.S. at that time. I was like, yeah, but you know, it's just like what Peterson said about the hierarchy, and I'll be fine. Like I pulled some angry bullshit, and I just went, like, you know. So, and I think that's where hopefully this is a channel change. So I'm sorry, I'm gonna say it, and then we can go back. I think this is where NE specifically makes a mockery of OI, where it's like, oh, it's conceptually the same, so we should be fine, right? But it is different, right? And there is instability that comes from just randomly going there. Anyway, that was a huge channel change. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I was just gonna like relate to that. I'm like, that's like when I peacock the hell out of my OE and be like, oh yeah, I spent 3 weeks in Japan.
Oh, did you?
Like, yeah.
What the hell? What?
Yeah.
I didn't know about this. I probably forgot. What happened?
So, and this is me. Like, I went with my friend, so we could stay on like a U.S. base because her dad was like head of the Navy supply at that time when he was stationed there in Yokosuka.
Okay.
And so, I spent 3 weeks in Japan, touring Tokyo, Kyoto, and then we went to Lake Hakone, which is like there's a huge like Seki show, which is like the gateway between like Eastern and Western Japan, which is where the samurai would pass by. Because like in ancient Japanese history, like the samurai had to spend so many years in the capital to like prove to the shogun that they weren't going to like rebel and start an uprising. So it was like that way to enact control on like all these, you know, basically lords. So it was like they'd spend, I'm gonna like bullshit some censor here, but they'd spend like 2 years into like Tokyo or Edo at the time, and then they'd spend 2 years back in their home province and back and forth. And that was kind of like their census system to make
Okay.
sure no one was plotting like to overthrow the shogunate.
Wow. Wow. Okay. So, and you were peacocking SE because you were with familiar people. Is that
Because I am in a country that is
okay?
completely different from the known country, like the norm culture,
Yes.
in a language that I can't really speak or read.
Okay.
Going around and like talking to Japanese people who don't really speak English back to you, and like somehow I'm able to like navigate around like this whole entire different culture, completely new. Like,
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. I mean, that doesn't sound like peacocks to me. That sounds like legit OE. But Savannah's calling you out in the comments, so I don't.
yeah, with the family I was close with, so still in my IJR because I was comfortable with that,
Got
so I
it.
could do some OE.
Got it. Okay. Well, you try. That's it's a thought that counts, right? And then Grace says, Drew can relate. Yeah. Solid Snake.
Sorry, Gray. I am just literally picturing that in my head as like you literally on his back and him
Yeah.
like going around like Solid Snake.
Yeah. It's so funny. Okay, really good. So here's what we're gonna talk about because I'm done with OP. I have like fun fact. I have like only a certain level of tolerance for OP talk. I can't do it for longer than, at least consciously, I can't do it for longer than certain amounts. I can't like.
It's okay. I'm OI and we'll probably weave OP into
No, we will, but it's like, no, we will, but it's like just talking purely about the parts. I'm just like, this is, I can't do this. I think that's just my demon OI because I'm just like, I can't do this. So I do want to kind of talk a bit about like just like you like with your life, right? Like, so we talked about your teacher, experience, right? A little bit of it. There is something that's very fascinating to me though that I wanted to ask you about here. I mean, we did talk about it. Like, so this goes back to my first impression of you being just so mature. I was like, how is this possible? Like, and like you said, part of it was you were doing a lot of emotional processing when you were younger. I was curious if just being a teacher and being responsible for like other like human beings, so to speak, even though they're younger, like even children, being responsible for children kind of sped up your maturity, like a rite of passage or something like that, you know?
I'd say just the whole entire process of becoming a teacher just sped up me waking up to my demons and realizing, because like my NI goal was I want to be a really good teacher. But I can't just like NT blast and ST play with kids. Like there is an emotional like whole entire component to teaching. You have to be able to connect with these kids, because if the kids don't like you, they're not going to want to learn. So like I remember, and a lot of it too, like thinking of it too, like a lot of it, and I guess I must have had like FE mentors when I went through my student teaching. So like for those people that don't know, teaching is like, and it depends on what university you go to, it's slightly different, but like you spend your like freshman for junior year doing teaching theory and all of that. You might be observing in classrooms, but then your last year or your last semester is your student teaching, where it's like kind of the equivalent of like clinicals in the medical field, where you're in the classroom and you're teaching.
Right.
And some of you might have had like a student teacher.
Right.
So it's like there's nothing that you could like prepare to go into a classroom with kids that you don't know. Like there's no amount of consume that you can do. Right. There's no amount of like blast or sleep or play that you can do. You just like walk into an OE minefield and it's just like, have at it. Here you go. So a lot of that was I had like a mental breakdown. I think like 2 weeks into my student teaching, because I wasn't connecting with my students. Not that like we didn't get along or I didn't have a rapport. I didn't know how to teach them best. Because I was going in with like the fresh out of college mindset. Oh, here are all these great things. And my teachers have shown me these videos with teachers teaching kids and everyone's happy and it's sunshine and rainbows. And this is great. And you get into like, you know, rural suburban high school of 11th graders that are in a block period. So you have to teach for 90 minutes.
Yeah.
And 11th graders at that point have pretty much like decided, you know, whether or not this subject is useful for me or not, because I'm going to go to college or I'm going to go to technical school. So, and like English isn't necessarily at what everyone needs. Obviously, like reading and writing is important. And that was hard. And like I would try to TE block brain with my cooperating teacher, and he wouldn't TE block brain with me. I do think that he was lead FE. Because his thing was figure it out for yourself, which is like the most like TI thing that you could like say to a person. Like, ah, gosh. So like I was forced to like do TI, like to sleep process. How am I going to like approach this situation, and how am I going to connect with these students? And after I like had a breakthrough, just thinking, like going over my known information, what do I know? What do I know about these kids? Just like taking in that information, it like clicked, and I was able to like go through and have a good student teaching experience. And then you fast forward to, I didn't get a job right out of college. So now I'm substitute teaching, which is OE hell, because you're literally in a new classroom every single day with new students, sometimes at a new school.
Yeah.
Like there's no stability. You don't know what you're getting into until you come into that classroom and you read the teacher's lesson plans.
Yeah.
But so there were times where I just like would sit there and like, do I really want to be a teacher? Because this is like really, really, really hard. And eventually I just sat there and I'm like, yes, I'm going to do it. I'm going to have to get through this sucky part. But, you know, doing this is going to look good on my resume. It's giving me experience. I can say that I did all these things, and I did land like long-term sub positions. Yeah. I think the second half, come like January, February of that year that I was just substitute teaching, I got a long-term sub position from like until the end of May, which is also coincidentally the year that I went to Japan. So like 3 weeks of that chunk was spent in Japan. And then the rest was long-term subbing in an 8th grade classroom with low students, because it was all, what is the word? I'm forgetting the term. Oh gosh, sensory. Basically like ranking students based off of academic ability.
Okay.
So I had like one class of 2s, which are like 1s are the highest, like those are like the gifted students. So I had one class of 2s, 2 classes of 3s, and then the lowest was 4, and I had a class of 4s. And that class of 4s was supposed to have a special education teacher in that classroom, because they're like, those students could be like they were defiant, and sometimes if you push them too much, they would like want to have an altercation with you.
Right.
So it was just like putting up with all of that suck. Just, this is bad. I don't like 5th period because that's with my 4s, but I also learned to like love a lot of those students as well, individually on a personal level. A lot of them also connected with me, weirdly enough, even though like sometimes we butted heads and like fought over like, hey guys, you're going to read this thing and you're going to like it. Yeah. So that's like, I guess, a lot of like forcing me to learn the F and to get into all of that. And I guess that's kind of why you see the maturity, because I had to look at those parts if I wanted to achieve my goal.
Yeah. Now, do you feel like you can't necessarily let me try and word this correctly. Like, my suspicion, let me just start with that. My suspicion is that just given how mature you are and just how people are in my life who seem to be mature, they seem to like feel separate from like, or they can't relate to a lot of other people anymore because they're not experiencing those like extreme drama fits or those extreme highs and lows anymore, right? Like it's like an adult or like a teenager compared to children, right? There starts to happen emotionally, right? So I was curious, you know, just as you've gone through this transformation, are you feeling that?
I mean, I've always felt removed from others. I mean, I can just remember back in 6th grade looking at this always like really we were that kids were trying to be that mature, like going to a Catholic school and there were like boyfriends and girlfriends and there's like rumors of people kissing underneath the stairs. And I'm like, what world did we live in where 6th graders at a Catholic school were doing this? Okay. But like, I just remember like that drama and that stuff was like super petty. I also remember, and no offense to anyone who did this, I always, it just annoyed me, like in high school. Oh my gosh, it's our 2-month anniversary since we started dating. I hope he gets me a promise ring.
Oh my
like,
God.
you've known each other for 2 months dating.
Oh my
What
God.
is he promising you? Like, you're going to get married next month? What? Yeah. And then you get like this, like, I just have been like, personally, I try to steer away from that kind of drama. And I guess maybe it's just from like a young age, like going through like serious drama myself, just not wanting that in my life.
Yeah. That's really good. I can't relate, but because I'm hella dramatic and hella petty. I'm both of those things, so I can't relate to that. But I feel for you there a little bit.
I think a lot of it is too upbringing because I have like, so I'm adopted by my grandparents, so I've grown up with my like grandparents who, you know, have gone through the whole entire shebang, so they have like oodles of wisdom just to bequeath on a young 5-year-old's mind.
Okay.
And then I see my biological parents, who, like, my dad is 50 and he's just finally settled down and married. Like, and I've seen him go in and out of jail from time to time. I've seen my own like biological mother who, because of her choices, has like completely shunned herself from her family. And I just realized, like, I don't want that in my life. So what do I need to do to not end up like that?
Right. Yeah. Interesting. I'm not as mature. I don't know. The closest thing I guess I have, you know, the only thing I can salvage here is like, I think I still feel this way, but I remember feeling this way ever since I was really young, that I felt like a child among children. I feel like that's slightly different, but I was like, I feel immature, but I could see everyone else is also immature. So it's like, I felt like there was no adults anywhere. That's how I felt throughout my whole life, you know? Like, I'm just like, everyone's stuck, you know? Anyway, but that's really good. I was kind of worried, I guess, that was happening, because I have people in my life who are going through similar things. Oddly enough, I think they all have NTJ functions. I think one's an INTJ or an ENTJ. There's a few other people, but I can see them starting to, you know, it's like they're experiencing too much, you know. They're growing. It's like almost they're growing too fast, or, you know, whatever. But it's like I can see it starting to happen. And, you know, there have been a lot of stereotypes and a lot of, you know, false, what's the word? Not reification, but like false deification of INTJs because of that. With like, oh, I'm the mastermind and I see so much farther and I'm the only adult in the room and all that. Like, experientially, it's kind of true, but it also just seems very, well, I guess that goes with it. It seems very isolating. Like, it's like you're just not part of the planet anymore. You know?
I think a lot of it too, and that's like why I joined this group, and why I don't have as many friends as like others, is because like I'm very selective and picky, because I want people that are like mindset, that are also growth mindset and are willing to overcome those obstacles. Doesn't mean that I won't talk to someone that isn't, but like when it comes to like personally letting people into like my personal FI trust zone, it's like all the people seem to be of growth mindset, like are willing to listen, give back and forth, that sort of thing.
Yeah, which is good. No, that's good. I don't even think there's any negative side to that. Okay, cool. Okay, so yeah, you're a mature person. That's good. Now, okay, well, along similar lines, but we're transitioning into the you know exactly what I'm transitioning to, right? You know exactly what I'm transitioning to. So along similar lines, if you're growing up, it's like the question starts becoming, okay, who are you going to spend your life with and all this fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
demon SFs. You know what the hell is this? You know, so I'm curious to see how you've been going through that. I know you've been starting to hit the scene or whatever.
Yeah.
So I am curious to see how that's been going.
After 27 years, I finally hit the scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and that's probably should have been the indicator that I was NT-STAF, because I didn't even start dating until like October, like officially. So like I told you, I joined eHarmony because I didn't want to go through the Tinder Bumble hubbub of just like swiping on people, and like I feel like that scene is all about like hookups, and it's not actually about building a relationship. Whereas at least like I'm not saying eHarmony is like perfect. Like you still have some of those people that you encounter from time to time, but it's like rarer because like you're paying outrageous amount of money to be on there to talk to people.
Yeah.
So that's been kind of my roller coaster, and I'm honestly a little surprised at myself at how well I've been dealing with it, but it's like been forcing me to sleep process. It's been forcing me to like just reevaluate my FI and what I want out of a relationship. As well as learning about who I am as a person and like affection and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I can't say that I'm like in a current like relationship going steady with anyone. It's like been a process. I've only talked to a couple people, but it's been a good exercise of like for setting boundaries, talking to a person, knowing like, oh, if all you're going to do is be like, cool, wow, yeah, I'm not going to talk to you anymore.
You gotta blast, guys. I'm sorry, blast lasters. You gotta try with Anissa at least. You gotta say something.
I mean, there are blast lasters on there, but they're blast lasters that like understand like I need to communicate with a person.
Yeah. Now what's interesting is as we were preparing for this, right? I remember you gave me this, so you went so NI on it. You were like, yeah, it's just like Amazon shopping.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, and I felt guilty like coming up with that, but that was my way of getting into the mindset, because when I created my eHarmony profile, it was like literally an hour after that, like it was the I don't want set in. And I just remember telling myself, because I like had read it in my therapy book, like just because something feels wrong doesn't mean it actually is wrong.
Right.
So I kept telling myself that, and I'm like, well, what's going to help me at least approach this in the right mindset? And I'm like, well, this is literally SF consume, because you're looking at pictures of people, you're looking at like what they write on their profile, you're narrowing down, do I like this person, do I not? And I'm like, well, that's just like what I do on Amazon when I'm shopping for like clothes or a laptop or something. So if I like take it with that mentality, it's not wrong.
Yeah.
Of course, me equating people to like Amazon products, like I felt guilty for that, but I got over that quickly.
Yeah. I mean, it's true. I don't know what else to say. I mean, that's how they even market it, you know? I don't want to channel change too much, but I mean, that's like, the apps are like, oh, you know, here's the best place to find the right, like, it's just like, that's like weird. It is kind of weird sometimes, but.
Like, the only thing that I've been hating about it so far, and like, I've been like sleep processing it out loud with people on the Discord as well, especially when dating comes up, is I realize I'm more the type of person that wants a friendship first than like a hookup instant relationship. Like I want that deep connection. And like it's hard on like eHarmony or any dating app, I'd say, for that, because it literally is skipping out. People aren't going there for the friendship part, like unless you're clicking on the friendship side of the app, obviously.
Right.
Like, a lot of people aren't there for friendship. They're just for like, I want to get married, this is my life partner sort of thing.
Yeah. It's too much pressure.
It is. And that's like what caused me to have like a freak out a couple times on dates, because it was like the affection and the wanting to get intimate like really, really quickly. It was just like weirding me out. Like,
yeah,
I just met you. What are you doing?
Yeah. Now, I can't really talk because, you know, and I'm just gonna keep this super general, but I feel like my reputation's already like tainted in the OP community. I am not one to talk about this. Like, I am definitely the person who makes things awkward very fast, right? So I feel for that awkward young man who was dating you or whatever. But you know, the pressure is too much. I don't know how the apps can solve that necessarily. It's yeah, good.
I mean, COVID solved a lot of my issues because it's like I can't freaking go out and meet you in person right now.
Yeah.
Or it's like we're close and then you set up a date to meet in person and then it's like, oh, by the way, it's Christmas season and per governor's orders, all like restaurants are takeout only at this point, not dine in.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like just video chatting, which to me is a lot more comforting because obviously it's just like what we're doing right now. It's what I do in the Discord with people, like put on the video and we just chat.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, COVID has helped because I mean it's normalized this type of behavior, right? Like prior to, at least for me, prior to COVID, like video chatting was like a special occasion. Like I was like, guys, you're not catching me on fucking video. Like, but now it's just like a normal thing. But yeah, I am glad that you're doing that though. That seems cool. I have been avoiding the dating apps like a plague. I don't. It's weird. We don't have to talk about that. Yeah.
No, I'm just saying it's scary. It is like awful to put yourself out there in front of people. It's a pain in the butt to talk to people. And this is coming from me, like a blast play. Like I hate like looking at messages and it's like, I have to talk to you. We got to go through this.
Yeah.
And then I also hate because like it's expensive too. Like especially during winter, it's like, what can you do? Like going for a hike, well, that depends on the weather.
Right.
It's like it's either snowing or like freezing cold and you don't want to like walk up a mountain. And so your other option is like food.
Yeah.
And that gets like, if you're doing that every week, that's
boring.
To me, like it feels like it's boring. It gets stale after a while. And it's just like you're spending a lot of money.
Yeah.
There's my OI.
Yeah.
Too much chaos.
Super practical. I don't know. I mean, keep me posted on that. I don't know. I'm not even sure I want to do it, if I'm being honest. Like, it seems super draining. I don't know. Anyway, but on your end, I think it's good that you're going through that. Have you? I mean, you don't have to get it all in your business, but are there any prospects on your end? Are they handling it?
I've had like a 5th date and we're both on the same page of just like taking things at a normal pace and not like rushing into a relationship. So that's cool. That's cool. Like hearing that, I'm like, that's really refreshing. And like, I've only like dated like maybe 3 or 4 different people. Like,
yeah, that's cool. Okay, cool. Yeah. I don't want to pay for eHarmony, but I might have to. Okay, I think that should be it. I mean, the only other thing was like some FI stuff, but I mean, honestly, like I feel like almost I don't always watch these interviews, but I feel like it's probable that you brought those up, right? Like the art and the like what you do for your FI.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if I necessarily talk about like art and music. Like sometimes I like share it. Like sometimes I'll post stuff, but then like I don't know. I'm weird about like my art and my music, and I think it has to do with like the NI.
Okay.
Like Discord has like the creativity box now because we got rid of karaoke. Because that the trend died. People still post their karaoke register.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Yeah.
But it's now just for all creative things, and there's like I'm playing my piano / organ, and it's like I wanna post like because I have a recording thing and I want to record me singing something from Phantom of the Opera because I'm getting good at it. But then it's like every time I go to record it, I screw up and I'm like, it's not perfect enough. It needs to be more perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And then I end up like never posting.
Yeah, I feel like that's everybody.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's an NI thing. I think every type has their own excuse for why they don't do stuff like that. It's weird, right? Like the blast will say, "Oh, it's because I didn't blast." The sleep blast would be like, "Oh, I fucking forgot," right? Like it's always something. Like, so not to like blast at you or whatever, but I really do think it's just like it's just human, like just a fear of being exposed and being called out for something being wrong or Like
Yeah.
I mean, my childhood, like I grew up wanting to be like a pianist and a singer and stuff like that. Like, and I sang in like choirs and stuff. Like, and I was actually really good at it. Right. But it's like you wouldn't catch me in the creativity box because, you know, I'm afraid. It's like, but I would make up some. Actually, I wouldn't even make up some bullshit reason. I would just avoid it. Right. But still, it's just like there's always something.
Like, still in my case, it's like I want to and I want to put it out, but I guess like my fear is always like someone's gonna like be like, oh, X, you're wrong with X or something like that. And I'm just like, okay. And it's like, to me, it's very personal, like my art and what I put out. And I mean, Stephen F.I., right? I just don't want the negative emotion. I just don't want people like, I did this out of fun. And like, I posted here because I thought it was really good. And now you're telling me it's not as good as I thought it was.
Yeah.
I mean, I could do like stuff with my flute. Like I went all the way to like district band and stuff with flute, but
yeah, but that's hard. I mean, but it's good that it sounds like you're engaging with that creativity box at least somewhat, right?
Not like really posting. Like I'll look and see what other people have posted. I mean, we have really talented people in the community. Just creativity abounds in the OP community.
Yeah. Well, but it's good. I mean, at the very least, it sounds like you're engaging with the art and, you know, the music on your own time, at least.
Yeah. I try to sometimes. So this is what I'll do because it's like live. So I don't feel as much pressure. But then my like audio really sucks. Is I'll just go down into music in Discord and I'll be playing on my piano, but apparently it cuts out and you can't hear what I'm playing at all. Sometimes I sing and play, but yeah.
Right. That's cool. No, that's cool. Okay. That's interesting. Discord's a really cool place for stuff like that. Okay, that's it. I don't have anything else. I don't know. It's just been really cool catching up with you, honestly. Quite a few people showed up as well. So Savannah said hi a lot. Sheree said hi. Gray, and then Nikki as well. So I don't know if you had any like closing thoughts, anything else you wanted to like leave us with, or
I mean, I could blast, but like right now my mind's like really, really blank. Just like I think we covered everything. Do I need to say anything more?
You don't have to. I
go back and consume everyone. No.
yeah, go actually watch this. Yeah. No, but this has been really fun. Really great to, you know, catch up. It has been a while for me, so it was fun for me, honestly.
Yeah.
So for everyone else, really appreciate it. I'll just do my little last minute cleanup and all that fun stuff. First of all, I know I'm gonna have to keep saying this. I know there's some people who just jumped in, or you're watching this and you just jumped in at this time spot and you're like, oh, what happened? I'm gonna get timestamps eventually in this video because I know you guys people like skipping around. It's just ridiculous. Like
but it is nice on YouTube though. I will say that, like, especially if you're in a YouTube video and you don't remember the exact time.
Yeah.
But you know, like it's like a little NI point, like, oh, I knew it was around when they're talking at that. Okay, boop. Like
yeah. So I will eventually get SI timestamps on this episode. Now I'll give you my little rule, my little SI rule, right? I'm going from most viewed to least viewed, right? Because it's like if this joint's least viewed, you don't need no timestamps. Good luck, okay? So that's the cost. That's the cost, okay? That's so Uzair's, Ikram's, Gray's, Odom's, and Savannah's all have timestamps. I'm currently working on Kevin's, and I'm working my way down that list, okay? But eventually this one will have timestamps, but this is your incentive. If you want this to get timestamps sooner, just watch it more. I don't know. You know. Next up, definitely give me some feedback. I do not care about thumbs down. I mean, it kind of hurts my feelings 1%, but feel free to let me know, right? You know, and if I see like there's like 90 thumbs downs to 1 thumbs up, then I know we got a problem. So feel free to put a thumbs up, thumbs down. Let me know what you think. Feel free to leave a comment with questions, concerns, things like that. If you're confused about the terminology, especially if you just skipped around and you didn't know what was going on, there are some links in the description to help you. Beginner series with text and audio and video describing these terms. There's also a YouTube playlist, 5 minutes, 10 minutes If you can't watch 5 minutes plus on 1.5 speed, I can't help you. Okay, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I really tried to make this as like simple as possible for you guys. Okay, so just go ahead and take a look at that. Next, oh, also leave a comment if you have questions or anything like that, and I always look at all my comments, guys. Next, OP game night. I need to just plant this seed in your ear. I want this sometime in 2021. Smash Brothers, Cards Against Humanity, Among Us, Jack Bark's Party, possibly Overwatch, and some miscellaneous stuff. I think this would be really fun, actually. So help me out, make this happen. If you have OI and you actually are okay with helping me organize without taking over and being that guy, because I will call you out publicly for being that guy if you become that guy. As long as you're not that guy, feel free to help me out. And then finally, there are some guests coming up in the works. I do have another guest tentatively on Thursday. And then I have I'm also going to be guest appearing on Kevin's. I'm not sure if you knew that, but there's going to be he's probably going to announce that, but Kevin's going to be putting together another group thing, and I'll be on there. And then next week is going to be another round of just execution. So if you guys like this type of content, feel free to subscribe so that you don't look. If you want to know when it's happening, you got to be notified somehow, right? So go ahead and subscribe so that you can be OI'd in on the whole thing. Okay. So that should be it. That's my awkward blast or whatever. Anissa, again, really appreciate it. And I will catch you all on the next one. Take care, guys.